Okay, now without further delay, we would like to welcome and the next speaker is Mr. Pronedra from New Generation Pedagogical Research Center, National Institute of Education, Cambodia. Today, he will be presenting about exploring perspectives and practices of EFL graduate student teachers on communicative language teaching. Please welcome Mr. Pronedra. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martha, for introducing me. So now let me share my screen. Let me few minutes to share my screen. So here's my screen. Hopefully everyone see my screen better. Yep, so once again, I would like to show my gratitude to Excellencies, honorable guest speakers, ladies and gentlemen, and also participants in the main session. So my name is Runitra. I'm from New Generation Pedagogical Research Center, National Institute of Education. So today I'm going to share with you my research thesis, the topic about exploring perspective and practices of EFL graduate students, teachers on communicative language teaching. So without further delay, we're gonna start now. So here is my content. First, focus on introduction of the study, then literature review, methodology, finding, discussion, consists of indication and limitation. So as my topic is about communicative language teaching, I begin my introduction with learning series. So learning series defined by Alice and Crossan. So in this case, learning series is divided in two main stages, like long-term acquisition and short-term acquisition, which result in growth of EFL, ELT, English language teaching. So as growth of ELT is result in teaching techniques and principles which allow teachers to have more opportunity to promote students to have collaborative work, which allows students to have more chance, allows students to have more opportunity to socialize with each other. But however, in some cases, language teachers still practice rote learning, lecturing, which resulting in lack of communicative competence. So this research studies guided by two main research objectives. One mainly focused on, the perspective of EFL graduate students teacher on communicative language teaching, and another one focused on, the practices of communicative language teaching. And these two main research objectives are also guided by two main questions. So the first one, take a look at, the area of, perspective of EFL graduate students to what, specific area they believe they are mainly focused on the perspective of the participant in this study. And another one focused on the extent that the participants have practiced in their socio-cultural working context. So here is the literature review map, mainly focused on communicative language teaching. So in 1940s to 1950s, communicative language teaching was known as bilinguals, or in other words, we would say behavioral language acquiring. So in this case, start from behavioral language acquiring, communicative language teaching was moved to traditional teaching acquirings in 1960s, and in 1970s, communicative language teaching was known as communicative language functionings, and last communicative language teaching was moved to communicative language teaching now. So here to begin my literature review, I start with, I start with definition, and then aim and characteristics of communicative language teaching with the roles of teachers and students, classroom activities, syllabus type, and also practices of communicative language teaching. And this kind of, specific area of communicative language teaching resulted in perspective and practices of communicative language teaching. So take a look at the methodology of my study. So this study employed qualitative research and IFL or UPP was selected, was recruited as the research site for this study. And there are 5 participants enrolled in this study. They are all A&T Seoul students. Yep, and they all work as teacher in the age of 20 to service. And they also have experience in teaching English more than 4 years. Take a look at a brief background of the participant. Actually, there are 4 participants involved in this study. So participant A named as ST1, B as ST2, and ranking to participant E as T5 and something like that. So here is a brief background of the participant involved in this study. So to collect the data, the researcher employed 2 things. One is about participant background consists of personal information, understanding of communicative language teaching, and another areas. The researcher, collect the data through semi-structured interview, adopted a framework from lesson 3 month 2011. And so here's the question about, background of the participant consists of personal data and the understanding of communicative language teaching. So I just want to show you a little bit about, how the question that the researcher used in this case to collect the data. So here's the interview question used for collecting data in this case. And there are 5 questions involved in the perspective area of communicative language teaching, ranging from question 1 to question 5. And then there are also 10 questions involved in the practices of communicative language teaching, ranging from number 1 to number 10. So in the slide here. So take a look at, the last part of methodology in here. So the researcher allowed the participant to fill in form and, to collect data. The researcher, collect the data through phone calling and Zoom because of the outbreak of COVID-19. And each interview consists of 45 to 1 hour and 25 minutes at home, office, and school, because during that time it's the outbreak of COVID-19, and also, the researcher employs the semi-structured interview to collect the data. Here's the finding of, perspective area of communicative language teaching consists of 5 main themes of perspective of communicative language teaching collected from the participant in this study. So the first theme is about, the understanding of communicative language teaching. Then jump forward to definition, implementation of communicative language teaching, the importance of CLT, and also appreciation. And last one is about implementation of communicative language teaching in the area that the participant have implemented in this case. One more important thing is about the theme of practices of the participant in this case. So there are 11 main theme consisted in this kind of practices of communicative language teaching collected from the participant involved in this study. So the first 5 main themes about goal of communicative language teaching, student role, teacher roles, type of teacher, and type of teaching and learning activity consists in this study, and also classroom interaction. So here's a brief, I just want to share with you, some main themes involved in this finding out the practice of communicative language teaching involved in the study. And let's jump to the next point. It's about, another finding, another main theme of communicative language teaching in terms of practices of participants in this study. So here it's about, student motivation. It consists of, asking questions, voice projection, eye contact, and also, engagement and encouragement, and also like involved in classroom activity and divided in another 3 main sub-themes like before, during, and after. So take a look at, the last themes of your finding consists in this study. In terms of practices, focus on, area of language emphasize, target and native language within the student evaluation and error correction, and also consists of another sub-themes involved in the practices of communicative language teaching in this study. So here the discussion part of communicative language teaching. So there are two main discussion part involved in this communicative language teaching. One is focused on perspective, and another one focused on practices of communicative language teaching in the study. So results reveal that communicative language teaching promoted collaborative work within a student have more opportunity with each other to practice. So this result reveals similar things to Buckley, Littlewood, McCall, and Richard. So the results seem reveal that teacher practice communicative language teaching is considered, the appropriate activity to promote students, to allow students to have collaborative work. And the result also reveal that conducting communicative language teaching is the active race, a teaching approach to promote, to develop communicative competence, which reveal similar things to Brown, Hammer, and Freeman, and Nonan. So the result seems to suggest that the teachers may need to think of the result behind that allows students to have collaborative work, to have more opportunity, to have, developed, the communicative language teaching and development in this case. Take a look at another finding of communicative language teaching, mainly focus on the practices of communicative language teaching. In this case, the result revealed that the teacher work as the language guide or monitors, which means teacher work as the facilitator and student work as the language practitioner, which reveal similar things to lesson Freeman, Littlewood, and Richard. So the result reveal additional role that teachers and students play very, plays to be a role in this case to promote each other, to cooperate each other, to produce one particular thing, to improve their communicative language teaching and as well as communicative competence. So one more important thing of the discussion part of communicative language teaching, the classroom activities implemented in this study, the teacher implement group work, role play, question and answer, and also problem solving. We reveal similar things to Littlewood, Brown, Richard, and also another research as from 2001. So in this case, the results seem reveal that teacher implemented communicative language teaching need to consider the appropriate teaching activity to promote students to have the interaction from one to another. And one more important thing is about enjoyable learning process that has been found in this study, and this reveals similar thing to Santo, Richard, and Conway in 2016. So in this case, implementing communicative language teaching, it sounds like, implementing student-centered approach that allows students to interact with each other to promote collaborative work or constructive learning activity. And communicative language teaching, um, based on the finding in this study, mainly focus on four macro skills as reading, writing, reading, and listening. So in this case, communicative language teachers need to consider the appropriate teaching technique to promote students to develop the four macro skill in this case. And one more important thing is that communicative language teaching conducted in classroom activity, the student need to have more or higher proficiency level in order to use it as a tool to develop their competencies. So the implication for this study, teacher may become aware of, how to use communicative language teaching to promote students to have more opportunity to practice, to promote students to have more collaborative work to practice, rather than just implementing teacher's top time. One more important thing is teacher may, aware of their role as a facilitator and the student work as the language practitioner. The student learn through practice-based learning. So one more important thing of the study is about limitation. So this research still, implement a small research sample. So the next further research should, collect more research sample rather than just the study. And one more important thing is about interview. So this research study conduct only interview. So the further research should conduct, both interview and observation. And one more important thing is about, a research side. So this study employ only, one research site. So the further research should collect data from various research site in order to implement communicative language teaching. And one more important thing, the next of the further research to employ both qualitative and quantitative research as a research to make sure that the data revealed in this study is appropriate. So that's all for my presentation. So here's some reference for the study. If you have any question, please kindly drop them in the chat box. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ronetta, for sharing a good topic, which is about CLT. Okay, now it's time for Q&A section. And we have got a question from our audience, which is about, okay, from Professor General. The question is, what type of qualitative design did you use? Thank you.
Actually, this qualitative research design, it seemed like employing case study in this case because the researcher collect the data through, interview, semi-structured interview. So the unit of analysis in this case consider as communicative language teaching and bounded system involved in this study are about 5 participants of ANT soul students. So this study employ qualitative research consider as a case study. So thank you very much for your question.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, we got one more question from Sum Thierry. The question is, could you mention again about the number of the population in your research? How do you know that your population number is enough for your research? Thank you.
So thank you very much. So in this case, the researcher collected data from 5 participants involved in this study. And these 5 participants, the MA in TESOL student, Master of Art in teaching English to the speaker of other languages from EFL, Institute of Foreign Languages. And in this case, to make sure that, the participant involved in this study, whether it's reliable, appropriate to, the topics of the study. Actually, the participant in this study have already trained and about communicative language teaching, and they also implemented communicative language teaching. So in this case, the 5 participants purposely recruited, and this makes sure that the participant understand clearly about communicative language teaching and its implementation. So based on this kind of requirement of the participant, I personally make my own assumption that it's maybe appropriate for implementing communicative language teaching in that kind of research line in this case. So thank you very much for your question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, the next question is from Adrian. It is about what ethical considerations did you observe in collecting information from your participants? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So in this case, regarding ethical consideration, first take a look at the consent form. So before collecting the data, the researcher have got the consent form from the I would say institute, and also send a consent form to the participant, and also like the before interview the researcher also as the participant to fill in the consent form, as well as asking them to record data. So I just want to clarify that during data collection is the time for COVID-19 outbreak. So in this case, the researcher decided to collect the data through phone calling and Zoom record. So in this case, the researcher also, ask a permission from the participant to ensure that they are allowed to record the data. So in addition, we also have consider in some appropriate manner in terms of how to collect the data. So thank you so much for your question.
Okay, thank you so much for your explanation. And sorry for, because of time constraint, and we cannot pick up all the questions for the presenter, but I think the presenter can answer it in it privately.